What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is no one here, or Stressman, or whatever you're going to call me, coming back to talk about Xbox and do a little update from last week's podcast that was released, and I never got around to doing it then, but I'm glad I'm doing it now. It gives a little bit of time for me to think about it and just go over a few things. So I just want to say that I want to go over what was said, essentially, just quickly here in the podcast, go over it real quick, and then just address some of the things I said in my previous video, and then go over a few comments. So that'll happen at the end of the video. But right now, let's get into what was basically said. So first of all, there is no Xbox exclusives going to PlayStation as far as like the big titles like Gears of War, Halo, Forza, all those big titles. There's only going to be 4 games coming over to PlayStation, and those games aren't Starfield or Indiana Jones. We already do 2 of them. Essentially, that was Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, and the other 2 are Grounded and I can't remember exactly what it's called. It'll be on the screen right in front of you, the 4. And basically they were meant to, Phil put it in the way that said that basically the communities that were playing the big multiplayer games like Sea of Thieves and Grounded, they want to expand the community there and also get some fans of those titles to come over to Xbox and just try out their games, because that was a big thing to improve their profit margin, is to get more players on Xbox and their ecosystem. So which I totally understand, totally get, and I think it's a good thing, because the alternative, honestly, is more microtransactions, honestly, in my eyes. So but I'll get into that later. They also said the Game Pass will not be going to other consoles, so no Game Pass for Nintendo, no Game Pass for PlayStation. Game Pass will still remain on PC and Xbox only, and I guess streaming on phones and TVs, but they did say that the only console that will have Game Pass is Xbox. They also stated with Xbox that Activision Blizzard games will be coming to Game Pass in March, and that'll be Diablo 4. And they also said that in June they were having a showcase like usual, and I fully expect them to announce more Activision games coming to the Xbox Game Pass, which I'm sure will be Call of Duty, but again, this is just speculation, so on my part. But the other points I have listed have, came out of the Xbox heads' mouths, including Phil Spencer. So they also said Xbox needs to grow, and they need to expand. So again, that goes with the player base there. And they also said that they are committed to making more hardware for Xbox. So no need to fear on this being the last console generation for Xbox. They have stated that they are trying to make the greatest hardware and technical leap in the next console generation when it releases. And they already said that they're going to start releasing stuff for that in the next coming years. So they also said that Xbox hardware is a place to have the best Xbox experience. Obviously, they've said that multiple times, and they said that we should be hearing more information on this hardware this holiday season. They also harped on game preservation, saying it was really important. Phil actually talked about whenever he went on stage and talked about backwards compatibility. I think it was at the 2015 E3. It's either 2015 or 2016. I remember that E3 going on, and I was really excited because I was finally going to be able to play Black Ops and Halo Reach and all these other games I love playing on my Xbox 360 on my Xbox One. So I really hopped on that. I don't know if that means if they're going to start expanding backwards compatibility again. I know a few years ago they said they were going to stop that program. So hopefully that means that they continue in the future, or maybe expand that into the next hardware generation. So, and they also said that Xbox is now the biggest game company. They own a lot of game studios now, and that means a lot of games will be coming to Xbox for sure. So I guess, as I stated in my previous video, that Phil is probably going to bring more Activision titles that have been shelved and canned for years, and hopefully we'll bring that back. And I guess it also means that games that have been not exclusive to one console will be making its way onto other consoles as well, such as Call of Duty, as they've already stated that in the past. So that was really the main couple points that they were going on about during the press conference. And I guess now I'll get into a few comments, and I'll take a few minutes right here just to go over why I was so upset in the last video. So the reason I was so upset in the last video, I guess I wasn't really clear, or people said I was just being a delusional fanboy and all this other stuff, which again, I'll get into the comments here in a little bit. But my main concern was whenever they were talking about these Xbox exclusives all going to other platforms. I just think it's unfair for one company to say, hey, all of our exclusives are going to the main competitor, and then essentially that means there's no reason to buy the Xbox console. Because I mean, if you have all your games on the other console and the other console has exclusives you can't play, then what's the reason to buy that other console? And I need to also address people saying just move to PC. I have a PC that is capable of running the games that are coming out today. The reason I don't mainly play on PC is because I find it more convenient to just get on my Xbox and play. Like, I don't have to worry about my storage on my Xbox. I have the expandable storage on there. I don't have to worry about my PC files with like my video files, my game files, my all these other softwares. I don't have to worry about trying to consolidate, because that's one of the main things I have trouble with on my PC, is just keeping all the memory. And I guess I could expand the storage like I have on my Xbox, but there's just a lot more to PC gaming than Xbox is, and it's basically plug and play. So that's the main reason. If it came down to it, as I said in the other video, I would start PC gaming. That would be like the main thing I would be doing. So again, the reason I was so upset is because I just think it's crazy for one platform to have every game, and then that gives them basically the power to charge whatever they want to for their consoles or whatever hardware they want to talk about. So yeah, that was my main thing, and I'll get into that into the comments and when I'm answering things. So but yeah, that was one of my main concerns. And yeah, so I'm glad that Phil came on there. A lot of the comments that were said I was kind of iffy about, because he did state, which I forgot to mention this, he did state that console exclusivity will be shrinking in the near future. That's just the way that the market is going in his eyes. I personally haven't seen that trend. I guess that PlayStation has put a few of their console exclusives on PC, but they're not really day one like Xbox does. So I don't understand where he's really getting at that, but maybe, I'm not in that industry, so maybe he does know. I'm not gonna say maybe, he does know more than I do, but again, I'll get into that later on whenever I'm talking about other things. So I guess now I want to get into the few comments that were left underneath my video, and I want to state before I get into this, I'm not trying to call these people out, start arguments and everything. I'm just simply answering the questions that were left for me, and I'm just kind of skipping those that, just want to perpetuate this console war thing, because I really don't care. Yeah, I made a comment about how Microsoft as a company could bankrupt Sony. What I meant by that is that they have a large revenue. Obviously, Xbox is just a portion of Microsoft, but that was just my main thing, is that if Microsoft really wanted to put all of their resources into Xbox, they basically could do whatever they wanted to in that situation. And I mean, like, I'll get into this in the future because there is a comment about this, but if Microsoft really wanted to bankrupt Sony, all they would have to do is just say, hey, we'll take a larger loss on our console sales, because they already take a $200 loss on their consoles right now. And let's say they came out and they said, hey, the next console, we're selling it for $199 or $299. I mean, from day one, let's say they say that. I personally don't see a future where PlayStation could be like, yeah, we're going to sell our console for that much. Because I know they take a loss at the beginning of all their sales, but I don't think they can handle that much of a loss on all their units. So that's just what I was saying. And I'm not saying that they could buy out the company or whatever. That was all I was saying whenever it came to that. So I'll get into reading the comments and answering them right now. So let's just get to the first comment. So the first comment comes from Bessie Riggs, and he's basically talking about just how it's not a dumb business move from Microsoft's standpoint, because they're basically making more money than they are if they just keep making consoles. And I'll let you read that right here, what he says, but I'm just going to answer it as you're reading it. If you want to just pause the video, you can. But no, I totally, like I said in my other video, I think I touched on it. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, but I feel like I did. I understand it's a good business move for Microsoft to be like, hey, let's just cut our losses and just make Game Pass where we could just sell the IP to the gamer or whatever. They could play whatever they want to. So I totally get that, because there's no like operating cost other than maybe like server costs, but I mean, you're not selling at a loss, and I mean, I understand that completely. But again, it goes back to my point on who gets a monopoly in this situation, and I just feel like it's, I guess in Microsoft's terms, and what he's saying right here totally makes sense, but in the gaming industry world, I just don't feel like it is best for the gamer, the consumer, for there only to be one platform to play games on, essentially, if you want to play on console. I need to say that, if you want to play on console. So I understand there is an option of playing PC. I'll get into that in the future with another comment, but no, I totally get you on this one, Bessie Riggs. But again, I just feel like it's a detriment to the gamer if one console owns everything. And I'll get into a example in that in the future. If not, I'll talk about it myself. So the next comment, it says the original Xbox actually made the money as it was off-the-shelf components. That's why it was so beefy. The 360 was a custom PCB components used, so that's why they started to lose money. And that's by Sergio's Bizarre Adventure. Hey, if you're a JoJo's fan, I'm assuming with that username you are. Nice! That was really dumb, but no, actually, Microsoft has lost money on every single console they have sold. I'll put a comment right here by one of the Xbox's execs, but they have not actually made money on any of their consoles. And actually, I made a video a couple years ago for a college project. It's still on my channel. I think it's the history of Xbox. And I had to make that for a class, and I know that the components off the shelves is true, but they have lost money on every single console they have sold. So I understand when people say, I guess this all, I need to touch on this. People said that Microsoft kept losing money and all this other stuff, and the fact of the matter is they've lost money even in their most profitable stages, like with the 360. So I've never understood why people say they're going broke and everything, because they have lost money in the past. They make their money back from hardware, accessories, and people buying into their ecosystem. So yeah. Here we go. So here's one from Horribly Pink. Oh no, more people get to play games. Xbox controllers have been compatible with Windows since Windows 10 and the Xbox app without having to pay the dumb subscription for Xbox Live. You're right. There's no reason to buy an Xbox. There shouldn't have to be a reason. Consoles and computers have been the same thing for 10 years. They're redundant, especially with almost every smart TV being a smart TV. Nobody uses their consoles to watch Netflix or browse YouTube anymore. You seriously can't give me a reason to buy an Xbox, or why I have to have one that's not Cope. Yes. Here's the thing. So if you own a PC, there's really no reason to buy an Xbox. You know what? I'll say that if you have a gaming PC, there's no really reason to buy an Xbox. Now, if you're, regular old Dan over here, or Joe or whatever, and you're saying, hey, I got back home from my 9 to 5 during the week, and I just want to buy a console, you're going to spend, let's say one comes out, it's $500. That's great. You get it, buy it, plug it in, play your game, go to bed. With a PC, and I know this from firsthand because I have a PC, a gaming PC, that there's things that pop up all the time. You have to worry about hackers when you're playing games on PC more than you do on consoles. You have to worry about firmware updates, which I guess you do also on Xbox, but usually by then they auto update and everything like that. You have to worry about the drivers being updated as well. There's so many things that go into a PC, and also upgrading the components and the big cost of actually investing in a PC at the beginning. Now, it's a great investment for the future, I'll admit that, but again, that's the main reason people buy consoles, is because they're so convenient, and the power you're getting with the price is, you can't compare it with a PC. You just can't. I mean, you can get a more powerful system from a PC, but I don't think there's a way you can get a PC that has the power of the Xbox just buying it outright in stores. I mean, I guess you could on the used market space, but that's the main reason. And also, I want to state this before I move on to the next comment. I use my Xbox for my 4K Blu-ray DVDs. I do. Now, my PC doesn't have a drive in it. I don't know if they make 4K Blu-ray drives. Like, they may. I don't know. I know they make 4K Blu-ray players, and they're almost around the same price as an Xbox right now. And that was just another reason why people would buy it, is that they get a gaming console and they get a 4K Blu-ray player. So that's another reason why I would buy a console. Let's get into the next one. Here's a good one from Oni Francis, 1566. This will also get into why I was so upset. This is an honest question. Why be mad? Why sell your console? How is a game where you're not? How is a game you were going to end up on another system changing for you? So again, this goes back to why I was upset before the press conference released. I was upset because if you just go to Game Pass only, the only situation it makes sense to keep the Xbox profile is if you're just specifically using it for the PC, like Steam does, like just as an account to have your stuff on there. But I need to go back to, if you're just doing Game Pass, then there's no reason to make a console. If you don't make a console, there's not really a reason to keep an Xbox account if you're going to run that for Microsoft. The only reason that you would have an account through Xbox is just to say, hey, I have Game Pass, I have access to these games, like a Netflix subscription. And with that, if you get rid of that profile, then all the games you have purchased on your Xbox profile are gone essentially. So that's why I was so upset. Is why have or invest any more money in the Xbox if all of my purchases are going to be gone? And this isn't like a false like thing for me, like to be like, hey, this hasn't happened in the past, because it has with Nintendo. They've with the Wii store, with the Wii U, the Nintendo DS, all those like online stores where they bought their games, basically gone forever now. Can't access it unless you have it on the console, which with now where you have to have an access key to get into your online purchase games or whatever, your digital games, and you've lost all access to that as well. So that's why I was so upset, is why would I continue investing in an ecosystem where I'm not going to be able to access my games in 5 to 7 years or something like that? So that's why I was so upset. And I've already touched on why it would change for me if it was on another system. So that was the main thing. And then here's another one from, I think it's Legato Summers 7327. I hope I said that right. It says, you said you love gaming, then if you really do, it doesn't matter whether they release all their exclusives or not, except for the controller, UI, and achievements. All the reasons you stated points to one thing: fanboyism / console wars. You said you like the controller, even if a game will be released on all platforms, you still play on Xbox because you're comfortable, have the most fun playing it on that platform. You will not be bothered if it got released on other platforms, because like you said, gaming is what matters. I completely agree. I would not be bothered if another game was released on another console. As a matter of fact, in a perfect world, I would love for every game to be on all platforms. But obviously, we don't live in that world. And I've touched on it in the past. If one console owns all the exclusives, then there's no reason to buy that one console. And if that one console owns all the power, then they can charge whatever money they want for all their accessories, their online account, their console itself. That's where I was upset about it. So, yes, I do prefer the controller. I do prefer the UI. I do prefer having my achievements that I've earned for 14 years. I like Xbox. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, but I'm not going to sit here and say PlayStation shouldn't get our exclusives because they, are PlayStation and PlayStation's crap and all this stuff. I don't care. I really don't care, honestly. I'm just saying that I just think it's unfair for people to sit here and say that, oh yeah, I mean, Xbox should give us all the games, but you sit here and you look at Helldivers 2, and it's not released on Xbox. And I know there's some people saying that Xbox should get the game, but you talk about all these PlayStation fans like, well, Xbox doesn't have Helldivers, all this other stuff. They don't have Spider-Man. They don't have God of War, all this other crap. And you put it on the other foot. Like, say PlayStation is in this situation that the Xbox is in before this press conference came. Do people act the same to PlayStation as if they did for the Xbox? I just think it's very biased to sit here and say, yeah, Xbox should give all their exclusives over. Because in a perfect world, again, I want that to happen. I would love that to happen. But again, without exclusives, there's no incentive to stick with a console. So that's just my main thing, is that it all leads back to, is my investment still worth it? And if it's not, then, I mean, who cares? I mean, I guess, because if that's the case, I wasted all my money and all this other stuff. So gaming is what matters. I completely agree. But I just think there's a fine line, and if we want to get to the point where everyone is happy, I think all exclusives should be on, or not exclusives. I think that every game should be on all platforms. I'll say it. If the perfect world is Halo fans can play on any console they want, but at the same time, PlayStation should be able to give us Spider-Man, Uncharted, all this other stuff. And I know PlayStation fans will be like, oh, we don't want Starfield. We don't want this. They're all crappy games compared. Okay. Yeah. Because that's why so many people wanted to play Starfield. And I'm not going to sit here and say Starfield's a AAA game. I mean, it's from a AAA company, but honestly, I lost interest in like 30 minutes of playing it. I hate that because I like Bethesda games, but I mean, the quality has really been lacking here lately. So I just want to answer that one. Here we go. This one's by Alex Plays Games Good. The reason is they make more money. They don't care if you buy an Xbox, but if you want the Xbox, get it. Microsoft is $3 trillion. You said like 5 minutes into your video, you put all the money and people wouldn't have the choice what system to get. Exclusives are bad for the industry these days. Also, the console still has a bunch of reasons to buy it. It's backwards compatible. It's a huge win it's a huge win. It's a win-win. A huge win. It's a win-win. Again, this goes back to if they ended up going down the route they did, then there would be no reason for them to make an Xbox console. So I guess I'm just repeating myself there. And again, like I said, in a perfect world, you would be able to purchase whatever console you want and play whatever you want on it. So I agree. I wish that we lived in that world, but we don't. At least not yet. And I guess I'll get into some comments here. People just sitting here talking about Xbox fanboys overreacting, the cope or whatever. It's silly. The console wars, yeah, I participated in it whenever I was in middle school and high school or whatever, like the first couple years of high school. Awesome, I guess. Awesome. You get to sit here and say whoever won, who gives a crap. I'm at the point in my life where I just want to play games with my friends and have fun. So that I just think it's dumb to sit here and talk about console wars because, I mean, I guess PlayStation fans want to say it. I don't know. I guess if they got hurt during the 360 era or whatever, I don't really give a crap. Xbox lost basically during the Xbox One, PS4 era, and I guess they still are. But again, that's my preferred way to play, and it is what it is. So, and I believe that's everything for right now that I wanted to cover on that. And I guess my closing statements here is just saying that I'm glad that they've released all this information to the public. And again, I've hammered this home like 15,000 times now. I want all gamers to be happy with what's going on. And in a perfect world, everyone would have whatever game they wanted on whatever platform they played on. So, and for everyone saying go to PC, if all this ends up happening that I said was going to happen, great. I will. I will. But in the meantime, I like the accessibility. I like to be able to just sit down and play games with my friends. And yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but yeah. So I want to try to make more videos in the future. I don't know what my schedule will look like, but we'll see when it gets there. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.